Why do so many couples start out passionately in love, only to see their passion turn into boredom and boredom turn into resentment? And why is it that some special couples manage to enjoy passionate intimacy and sex with the same partner for 20, 30, or 40 years? Our culture tells us that sexual passion inevitably declines with the passing of time, and many of us have accepted that as a fact of life. It's not true. The truth is that passion has nothing to do with age and time. Passion is like a switch that you can turn on today. If you have ever wondered whether you would ever experience again the passion you enjoyed in the past, this film will transform your life. We begin with Tony Robbins speaking at the Smart Marriage Conference, the largest and most important conference for marriage education. He will invite a couple to come up on stage. This couple is Mike and Judy, who were very devoted to each other but still struggled with a lack of passion and a preoccupation with work. Tony will begin by asking them to describe their challenges.
So is there a couple here in the room who is having some challenges, who would like to volunteer? There's a couple right here. There's a couple right here. Come on up here. Give him a hand. Come on, give him a hand. Nice. What's your name? Judy and Michael? Have a seat. So we've got Judy and Michael here. So tell me, if you would, you're having some challenges in your relationship?
Yes.
Okay, I got the answer of who believes there's challenges. Wasn't much very hard to figure that one out. And what challenges are you experiencing, Judy?
I would say that I know I'm totally out of balance in terms of time spent work and everything else, and it deeply affects us.
And here we have the typical man, very verbose, sharing his feelings freely and openly and quickly.
I'm agreeing.
You're agreeing by your silence. Oh, that's good to know.
Judy was very upfront that they have challenges, but she blamed herself for being too focused on work. Why she is too focused on her work, we will soon discover. If she has a complaint about her husband, she is choosing not to say. Tony will have to figure this out. Tony is teasing the husband for not speaking up. Many men think that their silence communicates agreement, but very often silence is taken as disagreement or stonewalling. Tony will now ask Mike the same question he just asked Judy.
And do you think there are challenges in the relationship?
Yes, there are challenges.
What challenges are there?
I feel like I disappoint Judy with some regularity.
Take a look at their body language. What does it mean to you? Who in the couple is acting more confident? Who seems hurt? Who seems more critical? Which needs seem like they are being met in the relationship? Which needs don't seem to be met at high levels? Take a moment to think about it. Now back to Tony.
And that we don't carve out enough time to connect. We pass like ships.
Yes. Now, how many can feel this man's pain right now? Raise your hand if you can feel it. And his pain comes from the number one pain that males experience. Now, I say males, you can be male form, and we all have both masculine and feminine energy in us, right? Everybody does. Women have masculine energy and feminine energy, men do too, but we have a predominant sense within us, meaning you're born with a sexual essence. The biggest challenge for most relationships is our culture does not encourage people to live their sexual essence. There's been a reversal in the last 50 years. And so women today, being feminine is seen as being weak. In fact, you see women unbelievably vicious and mean with other women who are feminine, free, and floating along. But what's ironic, and I've dealt with women, the most successful women in the world, and this is not me saying women should be one way, men should be another. I don't believe in that at all. A woman can do anything a man can do, and then some. She can achieve anything a man can achieve, experience anything one experience. In fact, she can do something a man can't do. She can have a baby without a man. With technology today, that's possible. So I have no limits in my mind about what a woman can do. But here's what I can tell you, having been with 3 million people, at least half of those women, I've been with the most successful women on earth who are miserable, making more money than anybody on earth. I could name names, but I won't name them out of the privacy of those individuals, obviously. But I can name one, for example, very famous broadcaster, makes more money than God, most successful you can possibly imagine in the broadcasting field, miserable beyond compare. She can do anything a man can do and better. She just doesn't experience any of her femininity. And the best way to be unhappy is be something you're not. That does not mean you can't be masculine too if you're feminine or vice versa. But if you don't live in your core, you're gonna be unhappy and no relationship's gonna make it happier. Today though, women are taught to be more and more masculine, and under stress, most women get really masculine and men get more and more feminine, as you see right over here. You could feel it. You could feel his feelings. Raise your hand if you agree with me on this. Could you feel his emotion and pain more than hers, yes or no? Raise your hand, say yes if it was yes. While he isn't speaking, you can feel it. You can feel it. Now here's what's really interesting. So men have become more feminine, women are more and more masculine, but there was something missing because feminine energy and masculine energy, to have energy, you have to have opposite poles. And today, most people are depolarized. They're neutral or they both become the same. They're both feminine or they're both masculine or they're reversed. The way we have electricity on Earth is opposite poles producing energy. When you go put a plug in the wall, there's two separate plugs that go in simultaneously, and it's those opposite energies that creates the spark and the aliveness. But when you're trying to wear a mask of something that you culturally think will be rewarded or has been rewarded in a relationship, you're dead inside. And this couple are depolarized. Depolarized means, right now, if you watch these two, I could be wrong, but we'll watch very quickly. I believe, just watching in the first few moments, they're both outside their core. They're the opposite of their core. So it's like two people trying to have an energy, and it's never gonna work.
The essence of intimate relationship and passion is the experience of polarity, where you feel an attraction to your partner's energy, which is the opposite of your own. The attraction between masculine and feminine is well known in our culture. The masculine is attracted to the sensitivity and vulnerability of the feminine, which the masculine lacks, while the feminine is attracted to the protectiveness and strength of the masculine. This play of opposites creates attraction and passion. Tony's concern here is that Judy has shut off her feminine energy, and Michael has shut down his masculine energy. Therefore, while they are still polite and considerate with each other, they are missing the passion that would bring their relationship to life.
And part of it is this man right now, if you look at him, is defeated. What was the language he used? He said, I feel like I, what? Disappoint her, which by the way, that was a softer word for like I'm failing constantly.
People are usually extra polite when complaining about their relationship. Tony knows that Michael is suffering much more than he will let on.
Now, death to a masculine man. Now, don't get me wrong. You can be a male and have more feminine energy, and that doesn't mean your sexual preference is men. Some people are born with more feminine energy, even though they're a man, and some women are truly more masculine in their core energy, which needs to be honored. But I don't believe that's what this guy is. I believe he's been molded or conditioned into it. And the reason I say that is because the level of death of aliveness in him, if such a word existed or phrase existed, meaning the lack of energy or passion. In a woman, if a woman could understand one thing, nothing makes a man more alive than to make his woman happy. Nothing. How many men would agree with me on this? Make some noise. In fact, so many women will say, oh, those guys, they're just after, you know, what a woman looks like or this or that. There's no question that men are very visually driven. There's no question, genetically and conditioned by socialization. The average male, by the time he's 21 years old, has seen 2 million commercials driven by the product being sold by the sexuality of a woman shaped and drawn or organized in a certain way. If you were flashed cocaine 2 million times, you might start developing an interest, right? So there is some truth about the visual, but here's what's absolutely true. How many men would agree, and please don't clap and make noise if you don't agree, if you do, make some noise, these women hearing you, that nothing is more attractive than a woman's smile or happiness. How many agree with this? Say aye. Interestingly, this man's ability to make this woman happy, he feels like a failure. True or false? He's afraid to even answer the question. because he doesn't want to make a mistake that will upset her. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
And what was the language you used earlier? Disappoint her how often? Regularly.
Regularly. Okay.
So I need you to be honest. So his ability to make things happen with her, you can see he feels broken. So since on a 0 to 10, how much certainty do you have that you will make her happy and not disappoint her?
5.
The main problem in this couple is that Mike does not know how to stir his wife's passionate and loving feelings. In Tony's words, his ability to make things happen for her is broken. He needs to find in himself the confidence and the ability to make his wife feel passionately loved, to make her feel excited, and to make her feel understood by him. Until he can do that, this couple won't be truly happy. Now Tony is asking Mike to score his ability to meet his wife's 6 human needs. The 6 human needs are at the core of all human behavior and are crucial to the happiness of any relationship. These needs again are for certainty, variety, significance, love and connection, growth, and contribution. Tony has just asked Mike to score his ability to meet Judy's need for the first human need, certainty. And Mike scored himself a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. Let's hear the rest of Mike's answers.
How much positive variety do you feel like you're able to generate with her? Truthfully.
4.
You hear his
3.
voice change?
3.
3? Yes. How significant do you feel like you are in impacting her life in a positive way that you really feel significant? Truthfully.
I want to say 6.
I know
Still
you want to,
6.
but what's the real number?
Almost a 5.
Almost a 5. Notice he said, I want to say 6. What's the real number? Almost a 5, which means 4.
When you are scoring yourself on how you meet the 6 human needs, whether in your partner or yourself, only the truth will set you free. Michael is uncomfortable with his own low scores, but it is important to be completely accurate.
How much connection and love do you feel from her to you? The secret
4.
is the truth will set you free. 4.
The 4.
How much do you feel like you're growing with her? 0 to 10.
The 4.
4. And how much do you feel like there's a great sense of contribution to her?
4.
4. So this is like striking out. Because once you get below 6, it starts to be a real challenge. When you get in those 4 range, you know it's not alive. Now, good news, Michael, is we're going to change this quicker than you thought was ever possible. And because there's just a few skills you need that you don't have. It's not her fault because she's been trying to communicate to you, but you didn't know you're supposed to be a freaking detective. You're going to change this very quickly, but you just need some skills. And you didn't realize she's been communicating to you exactly how to do this, but she does it with clues because she's a woman. If she tells you, then you get no points. You're supposed to figure this stuff out. You're supposed to know what she's thinking. Isn't that true? Doesn't she get pissed off when you don't know what she's feeling?
Often.
Often. Notice we have the strongest certainty in his voice on that, on anything he said so far. Could you hear it? Give him a hand for the certainty back in his body.
This is the first time that Michael has spoken up with certainty, and Tony is encouraging him and appreciating him for that.
What was that? What was that? What would you just say to him?
I think I asked fairly directly.
Yes, I know
Or I used
most
to.
women think that they are asking directly because a woman would understand, but he doesn't. He doesn't have a clue because like all other men, he's deaf, dumb, and blind. This is just a male disease that we all have, and we have never been taught how to pick up these clues. She thinks she's leaving you big, giant clues, and you don't just care. She doesn't realize you just don't even see the clue.
This is the reality of 95% of all couples, where both men and women are well-intentioned towards their partner, but feel constantly misunderstood and frustrated by their partner's needs and communication style.
Now, how much certainty do you think you give her? 0 to
About.
10. That you love her, that you're there for her, that you're never going to leave, that you're always going to be there for her. Through her eyes, how much certainty you think you give her?
At least a 5.
At least a 5, which means a 4. So look at her, she's giving him credit. No, it's even more than that. Well, that was very sweet of you. That was very nice.
It's true.
I know it's true. I see it's true. But I just want you to see how that he is hard on himself. Now, how much variety do you create for her through her eyes? Like the surprise and variety in this relationship, 0 to 10. What do you think you really create for her regularly?
A solid 3.
A solid 3. Give him a hand for honesty, ladies and gentlemen.
Mike has no hesitation in scoring himself a 3. It seems that their biggest problem is his inability to meet Judy's needs for variety. Now take a moment to ask yourself, what has to happen to meet your partner's need for variety? What emotionally has to be there? What would it take to get your partner excited or laughing or surprised in a good way? Now back to Tony.
What would you say?
2.
She says 2. Uh-oh. All right. How significant do you think you make her feel like she's the most special, unique goddess on the planet? 0 to 10.
4. Please.
What would you say? How significant do you feel?
Well, I'm sorting out the good day stuff.
No, not the good days, just overall.
5. 4 to 5.
4 or 5. Okay. How much connection do you think you give her, pure love that just pours into her on a daily basis, if you're looking through her eyes, 0 to 10?
On a daily basis, 3.
3?
On average.
On average, a 3. How many know what the problem is in this relationship right now? Raise your hand if you can see the problem very clearly. Oh, come on, people. You can't see what the problem is here? Is he meeting her needs, yes or no? No, not even at a basic level, except on good days. But good days are just days where they're both what? Hi. What are you saying, Tim? You can whisper to us too.
Well, one of the things that we do almost every morning is share appreciations and prayer together.
That's beautiful.
And so it's sort of a surprise that while these are significant, they're still not getting us up there.
Yes, because it's become a habit. Am I right? Yes.
Yes.
And anything that becomes habit no longer has life to it.
It is interesting that Michael and Judy are unusually diligent in their relationship, and yet they have still lost the spark of passion and love. While it is certainly helpful to have rituals together, they can't have passion without the polarity of masculine and feminine.
Even though it's a very important thing. And it does add to your relationship still, I'm sure. But it's not enough.
Got it.
Okay? Now notice who is the boy in this response. Who's the emotional one? Who's got it? Next. What's going to happen? He's over here struggling with this emotion about it. Now, there's nothing wrong with this if this is their natural polarity. If he really is more feminine in his nature and she really is more masculine. I don't know if it is, that's how they really are. I don't get it. I think they both have adapted. And they both have got so used to wearing those masks that he doesn't feel like he can succeed, so he's tentative, and she's afraid he's not going to, so she's protecting herself by being strong. How many follow? And that's a pattern for no polarity.
This is how couples get depolarized and disempowered. It's usually when both partners become discouraged about how to meet each other's needs. Since the husband feels he has failed to take care of his wife's needs, he stops himself from even trying. Instead of taking initiative in a masculine way, he's flooded with emotion as he waits for her to take action. On the other hand, the wife is so frustrated over her husband's failures to understand her that she's taking the masculine position, being authoritative, bossy, matter-of-fact, and unemotional. In that way, protecting herself from being disappointed by him. In this depolarized state, he's missing his masculine strengths of initiative and service, while she's missing her feminine strengths of intuition and emotional connection. There is no way they can experience passion like this.
There can be love and there can be connection with that. Because sameness, common history, common experiences, knowing you love each other will give you that base need, which is why you're in a relationship, but it won't create aliveness. Now, your side. How much certainty do you give him? That you'll never leave, that you're there for them, you love him, 0 to 10.
I'd get 6.
By the look on his face, that may have been a high score.
Yeah. Yeah.
What score would you have given him?
A 4.
How much variety do you give him? Total surprise. You never know what's going to happen next. That sense of variety and aliveness, 0 to 10.
Not a whole lot anymore because he doesn't accept it very well.
That's not what I asked. Notice what she tried to do. Do you see that? It's his fault, the bastard. It's not me. It's not that I'm not finding ways to create this. It's him because he won't accept it.
The very first step to a successful relationship is to take full responsibility for meeting your partner's needs, no matter how much they might seem to resist or react, and no matter how difficult they may seem to discover or achieve. You need to focus not on your act of giving, but on your partner's joy and happiness.
I didn't ask you if he'd accept it. I asked you how much you give to him, truthfully, 0 to 10.
4.
4.
Yes.
Yes, 4. Great, that's really juicy. 4. How much significance do you give him that he feels like he's special, unique, important, your hero?
3.
Yes. 3.
Did you see him start to laugh when I said hero? I'm your hero? Did you see his face? Like, that ain't how she makes me feel. Any man, because of these 6 needs, I will tell you this. Masculine energy, even a woman is more masculine. Significance is unbelievably important because it's driven by testosterone. Testosterone, in its drive, is to figure a way to be important, significant, the one, the leader, the one that makes it happen. That's the nature of testosterone. The nature of estrogen is connection and love, is it not? That's what makes a mother love her baby no matter what, right? So estrogen in a truly female person who's feminine in her nature, connection is more important. She might want significance first before she'll let herself feel connected, but that's where it is. So a man who feels insignificant is basically broken. So he has to find another way to do it. So he'll do it at work, or he'll do it with his children, or he'll do it with someone else. A woman who doesn't feel that connection and love or significance, if that's hers, will also find girlfriends, food, anything else to fill up with, to meet her needs with. How much connection and love do you feel that you really, that through his eyes, he experiences from you? That you're totally in love with him, totally connected with him, 0 to 10?
4.
5.
Oh, that's nice. How much growth do you feel like you guys are having creating together, 0 to 10?
That's harder because I'm seeing subtle shifts. Not much still. 4.
Yes.
Contribution.
2.
3.
3. Now, if we don't have any other further discussion, you tell me what the challenge is. By this. Not what you used to say the challenge is. What's the real challenge? Remember when I asked you the things you love to do that you could do almost effortlessly earlier?
I couldn't come up with any.
You couldn't what?
I couldn't come up with
Couldn't
any.
come up with anything. Isn't that interesting? And that feeling you're having right now, the tears starting in your eyes.
It's shifts.
The reason is, without love, nothing else matters to you. Correct me if I'm wrong. Everything else is luster is taken from you if you don't feel you have that aliveness in love. Or am I wrong?
I do feel his love.
I know you do. But at what level?
About a 4. No, about a 5.
Have you ever felt it at 10?
I could count on the fingers of one hand.
Okay, well, that's better than not.
Judy has said that she can count the times when Mike made her happy with the fingers of one hand. Toni uses her metaphor to connect each good memory to one of her fingers, and so anchors each memory in her body, making it part of her physiology.
Give me this one. Give me the pinky one. The time you felt totally loved at a 10 by him.
When he got down on his knees at the restaurant, that was one of them.
So you like him on his knees?
That'd be cool.
Give me the thumb. You said you got one on each finger. Give me the thumb one. What's one on here? Give me the experience on here.
The way he looked when we were getting married.
The way he looked at you?
Yeah.
How did he look at you?
Just totally, absolutely adoringly.
You remember what that felt like?
Delicious.
Delicious. And then how significant did you feel on that day, 0 to 10, when he looked at you like
Absolute 10.
that? Absolute 10. How certain were you that he loved you, 0 to 10?
Absolute 10.
How much positive variety were you anticipating?
Still not real high.
What would the number be?
Well, I was thinking, like, when he proposed, that was like real variety just because he got me a practice ring because he wanted me to pick it out, but he got me a ring because he wanted to have a ring, and that was like, that felt out of character. That was cool.
How many ladies like that, by the way? Let's hear some noise out there, ladies, if you like that. Because it wasn't like just anybody else. He really thought about what your needs would be, didn't he? And he wanted you to have what you really wanted.
Yep.
And we've got the thumb and we got the finger. Give me the ring finger memory. Tell me another memory where you felt totally loved at a 10 by him.
When my dad died, I was trying to figure out how to ask him. We weren't married at that point. We were 3 years into relationship, but not married. And I was trying to figure out how to ask him to come back east with me.
Yes.
And he already knew he was coming. He was just trying to figure out the money that he didn't have.
Wow. So he anticipated your needs again. This anticipating needs thing seems to be a pattern. He's taking notes. Good. Okay. And what's this one?
There is something about the way in which he corrects me when I say my kids, and he says our kids. Because when we got married, my baby was just shy of 20 and sang at our wedding. So,
Wow.
so he came in when they were like, I mean, he started younger, but she was 14. So they're our kids.
They still are to this day, aren't they?
Absolutely.
And so what do you feel when you think of that? Is that this finger? Or is this?
That was that one.
Okay. And so why did that feel so special to you when you stuck that middle finger into our kids?
He's just so willing to be part of my life in that way. And to really take that on and that feels wonderful.
What does it mean to you?
It means he's there for me. It means he's by my side.
Pretty certain, isn't it? Pretty significant for a man to love you that much. Pretty connected. Pretty variety compared to most men.
Oh, really?
Heal, devils, come out! Did we get rid of that?
I haven't experienced most.
He goes, did it work?
Sometimes people have an old habit of criticizing their partner's efforts, and sometimes the best thing to do is to interrupt that pattern when it happens. Toni just used this funny pattern interrupt to surprise Judy at the moment when she was being critical of her husband. Now, because criticism has a lot to do with trust and respect, Toni will try to understand the sources of trust and respect in the relationship.
Now, This is a perfect example, Michael, of a lesson you need to learn. And I didn't get to it because I was out of time, but the third principle is trust and respect. Now, here's the problem. Men don't understand that women get trust and respect in a different way. How do you know if you can trust someone? Anyone, how do you know? They do what they say, but you don't do what you say all the time. Can I trust you? Clearly not based on the criteria you just offered me. How can you trust someone? How do you know if you can trust someone? Better question, could you trust an enemy? How? If you know their interests are tied to your interests, you could trust an enemy. If you know that in order for them to succeed, you have to succeed, you could even trust an enemy. The way you know you can trust someone is you know that your interests are aligned, that their interests are your interests. And one of the ways you've done that with her, one of the ways, for example, she just mentioned was the way you've made them our kids, because you didn't have to do that. And she feels that at a deep level. It's made her trust you. And when a woman feels trust, she'll open to you. Now, that's different for men. It's just like sex. Somebody said once that, women need a reason to have sex. Men just need a place. So the ability to trust for her is driven by that certainty that you're going to be there for her. And that's one of the ways. It's the interest in line. How do you have respect? What makes you respect someone? How many agree trust and respect are critical for a relationship to be vibrant? Say I. And how do you know? How do you know you can respect someone? What makes you respect someone? Their character. Boy, it's pretty scary when we know trust and respect are this important, we don't know how we're going to know we have them. You respect someone when you believe they bring something to the party beyond you. If they have something you don't have and they bring it to this relationship, you respect them. If they don't bring anything to party in your perception, there is no respect. Trust comes from having your interests aligned. Respect comes because they bring something to the party. And when you met this man, you felt some things about him that you really trusted and you respected. What did you think he brought to the party in your relationship?
The first value that comes to mind is integrity. That is so solid in Michael.
Yes. Does he still have that?
Absolutely.
That's good. And which need does integrity meet for you?
Well, yeah, certainty.
And with that certainty, you're able to love a bit more? Open a bit more?
Yes.
Now, what's interesting, though, is here's the part you're missing. Even though she knows you have integrity, even though she has certainty, the one thing that'll make a woman open is she needs to know she can feel all her feelings. Now, men have this thing that women shouldn't feel a certain way. But biochemically, you have no idea the storm that goes on in this human being. You never will. Thank God for you and I. Thank God. You'll never know. Now, do you see him take that breath? I think I do know. You know the effect of it, but you don't know what it really feels like in her body. You've never had to go through that. You've never had all these chemicals going around making you feel crazy one moment and another moment feeling really wonderful. How many men in this room have ever had an experience of being with a woman and thought to yourself, I did nothing? Why is she pissed off? How many men have had the experience? Make some noise, gentlemen. You don't have to do anything. It's just the energy that's it. See, feminine energy is like a wild storm. It's magnificent because it's like nature comes in and but you know what's really great about a tropical storm is if you take it in and really take in the storm, all of a sudden it clears up and it's sunny, beautiful, happy skies. But if you're a little wuss that runs to your cave like John Gray talks about, then the storm comes in to find your. Am I right or wrong about this experientially?
Yes.
Yes. And the more you cower, the more the storm comes. Now, the test of whether the storm's going to unleash or not is just the way she did it right now. Because that was a test to see if you're going to be a or whether you're going to be a man. Whether you'll crumple and collapse, which means she can't trust you and open all her feelings, or whether you're going to be there unmovable, strong, loving her even when she's crazy. Because you are crazy.
Absolutely.
Give her a hand. She is absolutely.
Most men have a relatively consistent and narrow emotional range, while most women have a broader emotional range, both positive and negative. The problem develops when men try to impose their narrow emotional range on a woman, for instance, expecting her to keep a positive outlook when she's very upset. When a woman is upset and her man expects her to be otherwise, or when he reacts to her emotion by becoming frightened or angry, this makes her feel that she can't be herself around him. This leads to loss of trust. Tony is pointing out that when Judy was criticizing Mike, she was actually inviting him to become more present for her. She needs to feel that he will love and take care of her even when she's being difficult or inconvenient. If Mike feels like a failure and crumples every time Judy tests him, then they will never feel very much passion. Mike needs to know that when she provokes him, that's the time to step up and be her man.
But when she's a crazy, what have you learned to do, truthfully?
Hunker down.
That's right. Hunkering down brings out a more crazy. Hunkering down, and then after a while, she's tired. And then she'll be mad at herself and beat herself up, even though she may not say it to you. And she'll be mean to her, unfair to herself. And then she won't be able to trust anything. And then she'll start to feel so dead inside because she can't feel fully alive because her man is missing the one thing she needs, presence. I want you to know you can win this game. After all these years, you can win the game. No one's ever shown you presence. You crumple. If you could stand in the middle of that storm and go, give me more, baby. There's nothing you could say, there's nothing you could do that could ever possibly make me not be here for you. I love you when you're crazy. I love you when you're mean. I love you when you're wild. Give me more. And stand in her presence for that and see what that would do to her. Look at her face. Look at her face as I'm even talking about it. Look at her. She's grinning from ear to ear just the thought of that. But what she does is she goes like this. She goes, stab, stab, stab. She's doing it all the time. She just did a minute ago. Oh, really? I wouldn't know. Variety? I don't know. Maybe a 4. That was like, come here, can you take it? And you crumpled all down. And then when you crumple that down, she loses certainty that she can be all of herself. If you can take in every emotion she can take at you, which, by the way, is not that difficult because you know she loves you, for God's sakes, and you know you love her. But you got to be a man and stop being a girl. And that's not being negative about women. Now, some women are going to be pissed by me using that language. But what I mean by that is you can't let feminine energy dominate your being or you lose polarity with her. She's become the aggressive, go, make it happen person, and you're the one collapsing inside unless you're doing something else.
When Judy provokes Mike or criticizes him or hints to him about what she needs, or when she tests him to see if he'll be strong, then she's sending him feminine energy. What Mike needs to do in those moments is to send her masculine energy. Show her that he is strong, steady, supportive, and accepting of her emotional range. When Mike can respond to her feminine energy with a masculine energy, the couple can enjoy polarity and passion again. She will be in her strength of vulnerability and dynamism, and he will be in his strength of steadiness and power. Now Tony will ask Mike what he does currently to feel significant, since he feels so insignificant with Judy.
How do you feel significant? What do you do? Because you aren't doing it here.
My work as a therapist.
Yes. Because you feel you can be successful there.
Very.
Very. 0 to 10, how significant do you feel as a therapist? Your ability to make a difference?
On average, at least a 7.
At least a 7. How certain are you, 0 to 10, that you can make a difference for people as a therapist?
At least the 7.
At least the 7.
At least.
How much variety is there, and you're doing different therapies, different people?
Oh, 8, 9,
8
10.
or 9. Yeah, 10. And how much connection do you feel to these people? You care for them and connect to them?
7, 8.
7, 8. And how much do you feel like you're growing and helping them to grow?
10.
And how much contribution do you feel?
10.
So where's he going to go to fill up, my friend? Work. And the more he goes to work, the less important she feels, the less significant she feels. And then the story becomes we're both working so hard. But I'm going to ask you now, where do you go to get your needs met?
I'm the one that's at work far more.
Good. So how significant, you're a therapist also?
Yes.
Okay. Sir,
We work down the hall from each other.
you down the hall from each other. Oh, so that's why you can't connect, because you're down the hall from each other.
Yeah,
Such giant separation.
there is one office in between, yes.
A whole office. Wow. I thought one was on the East Coast, one was on the West Coast. A whole office.
Most couples develop a story of why their relationship is not as passionate as it used to be. Mike and Judy were blaming work for getting in the way of their relationship, but this cannot be the real reason since they work in the same office. It was something else that was causing them to feel distant from each other. Now ask yourself. Everybody has a story about why things are the way they are. What story do you tell yourself? How do you explain your circumstances? Now Tony will ask Judy how she feels about work.
So let me ask you this. How significant do you feel as a therapist, 0 to 10? Your ability to make a difference.
I've been low of late.
Okay.
I've caught myself up in backlog of other things to do. So I haven't had much energy anywhere.
Yes.
When I'm on, 7 or 8.
Okay. How certain are you can make a difference, 0 to 10?
8.
How much variety is there in different people, different therapies, different ways of interacting?
8 or 9.
You see the smile on her face? How many saw the smile on her face that she even thinks about it? There's her variety. And how much connection do you feel with your patients?
7, 8, 9.
How much sense of growth and helping them to grow, you growing?
8, 9.
Contribution.
8, 9.
So in the relationships, we get 3, 4s, and 5s. You all hear this? And even 2s. But in our work, it's 8, 9, 8, 9, 8, 9. It's not that they're so busy. It's that people have to find a way to meet their needs, so they've moved to something that is more certain than the relationship, something they can control. Because as the therapist, they're in the superior position. With each other, they can't do that. Well, maybe one acts superior and the other doesn't, but that doesn't fill them up. How many follow this? Here's what you gotta know. People always find a way to meet their needs at a basic level. If they don't meet in one area, they're gonna find them in another.
Think of an area in your life where your needs get met at a very high level, maybe in work and sports, your hobby, your children, or your friendships. Does one of these areas meet your needs at 9s or 10s? What would it feel like to be meeting your partner's needs at those levels? What would it do for your quality of life? How much pain would be eliminated?
So now, we had one more finger. Yes. Tell me this one.
The times when he'll come into my office and kiss me on the back of my neck.
Ooh, a whole office away. Wow, how does that make you feel?
That's tingly.
That's tingly. Look at this little girl. How many see a little girl right now? Raise your hand, make some noise. Did her voice change? Did her voice change? It wasn't the commanding, yes, I'm a therapist. It was tingly. You could see the vulnerability, but more importantly, you could see the feminine energy in her. Look at her face. And look at his big smile on his face. Look at him. I succeeded. That's all he wants. He makes her happy. Now, you lied to me. You lied to me. I don't want you lying to me anymore. You told me there were only enough to fill up one hand, and you just said the times he kisses you on the neck, so I must have. How many other times has he done that?
He's just started that recently, but I'd say maybe 7.
7? That's more than both your hands can hold. Don't lie to me about only enough on one hand. By the way, the thing of, I don't even have enough I could count on one hand, that was one of those, just going, to see whether or not you would crumple or where you would look at her and go, tell me more, baby.
But there's a huge one I totally spaced out.
Which one's that?
Oh, a process that we did in a group about 5 years ago with Haiti and Yumi. And when Michael admitted that he'd been holding me at arm's length for the entire relationship. And when
Now, by the way, right now, this is another little test. See, you just don't realize you've been tested your entire life and you didn't even know you were taking the frickin' test. She's testing you again. See, if you collapse because you feel bad about that, instead of the fact feeling strong because you actually told her that, then you miss the opportunity to show her that you own her. Look at her face.
I think he owns this one. It was
I'm glad you remembered this one,
I'm glad you're what?
that she remembered it.
Yes.
It's on
it
my
was
list.
hugely significant, and afterwards, his body was cellularly different.
That's wonderful. How was your body?
It probably was cellularly different too.
Yes. Probably was or it was?
I'm sure it was. I was paying more attention to, I've never hugged this man before because he was so different.
And why,
And I may have been hugging from a different place,
True.
but I noticed more of that.
and why had he held you at arm's length?
Because I think he held everything at arm's length.
Okay, now, that may be
I
true.
think that
true.
was habit.
And why were you holding her at arm's length? Why were you holding everything at arm's length?
Fear,
Fear of
getting killed.
getting killed. Oh, that's good. Do you carry a knife?
No, but I know the history where it comes from.
So that history kept you from doing that, but somehow you broke through. Now, why would you break through for this woman?
Because I saw her. I just forgot everybody else and saw who she was and remembered how much I loved her and how much I'm tied to her.
To what part of her?
All of her?
Her soul?
Yes, soul,
What would you do?
happiness, anything.
What would you do for this woman? What would you do to make her happy? To make her fulfilled?
I feel like I'm going to fail a test here right now.
Heal! Devils come out of you too! Let's try again.
Did it work?
What will you do for this woman? Answer quickly. Do not hesitate. Tell me now.
I would do anything for this woman. Anything for this woman.
How did that feel? Do you believe him? The bastard.
The
This is a test. It's always a test. You see, just yes, you're right.
me
But
right?
here's what you got to know: you can't fail the test because all you have to do is stay present. Now, you just
Yes.
don't know what presence is, but I bet you do. Look into her eyes, reach inside, and feel what she's feeling, not what she says to you, because what she says is always bull.
Mike needs to stop worrying about being criticized or judged. He needs to step up and meet Judy's real need for love and reassurance. If Mike can simply feel what Judy is feeling, he will be able to heal her simply by understanding what she is going through. That's all he has to do.
She rarely says what she really feels because she wants you to discover it. So go in and get it. Look into her heart and soul and feel what she's really feeling. And the more she tests, just go look at her and feel her deeper and love her more. So the more she goes at it, it's just like a little girl scared trying to smack at you to see, will you stay with me? Will you love me no matter what? Will you really love me if I'm crazy, if I'm nuts, if I'm mean, if I'm harsh? Because I don't even love myself in those times. But if you can love me like that, I can open to you. If she opens to you, you're going to feel like a man, and you're going to feel strong, and you're going to feel alive, and you're going to know you can win this incredible game called love that goes beyond a game, it's life. And you have that ability. You just haven't practiced it because no one's shown you. So you kind of knew you were tested, but you always thought you're going to fail. There's no failure if you go deeper with her. There's no failure if you get more centered. So I want you to start to breathe, because that will be helpful. See, whenever you think you can test that, I just noticed you don't breathe. And that physiology does not assist. So breathe deep. And when she goes to do that, just feel yourself in your center, feeling strong right in here, feeling strong. Like the more she comes at it, the more you think, I love you, you crazy bitch. I worship you. You will never, ever get away from me.
That's what I did in Chicago. I knew it. It was 100% clear, no question.
Great.
And it faded away, faded away.
No, it didn't fade away. You stopped doing it.
Well,
Yeah!
Tony shook Judy and Mike's heads, screaming, "Devils be gone," to shock them out of their negative patterns, and also to give them a memory that they could return to that would be a reminder of their wish to abandon negative ways of thinking and communicating. Similarly, Chicago forever is now a phrase that Mike can always use to go back to being present for Judy and to totally loving her.
Chicago forever. That's your new motto.
Chicago
Repeat after me.
forever.
Chicago 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 forever, baby.
Chicago forever. Forever. Okay. Forever. The rest of my life with you. Any given day. From
Did you
the
see what just
moment
happened
we
to her
wake
body?
up.
Look what you just did to her body. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Look at her eyes. What
From
is that
the
liquid
moment we
leaking
wake up.
from her eyes? What is that liquid?
It's her.
That's right. That's her real feelings, not the shit she puts out in front. And just see her shoulders drop, and she actually breathed right then, because she needs to know that you're going to be there forever no matter what, that you're going to always come deeper into her, that no matter what she says or does, you're not going to collapse like a little wuss, that you're going to know that it's just her scared inside, trying to see, will you stick with me? She needs reassurance. Here's when feminine energy needs reassurance.
That's just our secret, right?
That's just our secret. When does she need reassurance?
All the f***ing time.
That's right. Is it true? Yes. Give her a hand, ladies and gentlemen. So every time she tests you, it's a call for reassurance. It's not that you're a failure.
All day long, every day, from the moment we wake up, and no escape at night. No escape at night. You don't go off by yourself and do isolated things. I will not let you go there. No. Never again. Okay. Chicago forever.
Tactile function assists at this moment.
For most of this couple's relationship, Mike did not know how to make Judy feel passionately loved. Well, this is what it looks like. By remembering their time together in Chicago, Mike came back to his masculine center, allowing Judy to return to her feminine center. Where before he was hesitant, waiting for Judy's approval, now for the first time he presented his new standards for their love life. He also told her in no uncertain terms that she was not allowed to escape into work. Surprisingly, it was when he took that authoritative tone mixed with love that Judy finally felt safe enough to let down her guard and feel completely loved by him. This is what a polarized relationship looks like. He is there to hold her, care for her, and protect her. She can relax knowing that his strength will be there for her no matter what.
You're right. I really like that.
Did you like that?
Yes.
Yes. Now I have a question for you. When can you reach this woman's soul?
Anytime.
That's right. Look at her. She's like this, nodding her head at you. Do you see that? Anytime, as long as you come back to the center of your being and stop thinking about yourself. You're not a selfish man, but you've been feeling sorry for yourself. And it's time you broke that pattern and you did it tonight. Because what you did is you went into her feelings. You felt for her. You came present for her. You put her feelings first. It's all about meeting her needs because you love and worship this woman. And when you go inside and feel that, you melt her. And when she has that melting, everything else in her life will start to work. She'll be better as a therapist because she'll feel love.
The essence of masculinity is to serve and protect. As long as Mike was focused on his possible failure, he was unable to access his true strength and confidence. It was only when he saw his wife's true inner vulnerability and her need for his love and reassurance that his true power came forth to give her what she needed.
She needs you. You don't realize how desperately she needs you. You've been thinking you're failing, and all you've been failing to do is give your gift. And it's so easy to change. It's breathe, focus, and no matter what she says, you worship this woman. There will never be a day, a moment in your life, no matter what she says, you'll stop loving her. You own her. Women don't want to be owned, they say, but if they're feminine, they do. They do. If they're feminine. If they're masculine, they don't, but she is not masculine. She's only become masculine because she needed to fill the space because you were being feminine. And that doesn't mean she can't use her masculine energy. Of course she can. But in order to feel this polarity, you've got to have that presence. And when can you create that presence in yourself?
From now on.
And if she starts needling you or saying old things, because I can promise you, now she's excited, but she's scared. This is a miracle, but will it last? So then she'll try and test it by going, poof. She'll say something. She'll make some little mark, and then she'll smack, smack, you know? And then if you start to drop down, she'll go, oh, see, it didn't last. It was just, well, that guy was there. Because she's afraid to believe, even though she's feeling it in her whole soul. So even though you're saying it, when she attacks, she is needing reassurance. And when does she need reassurance?
All the time.
When does she need your attention?
All the time.
That's right. When do you need his attention?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time.
This is the secret way for men to handle conflict with their partners. Simply remember that your woman needs reassurance and attention all of the time. Criticism is a request for attention and reassurance. During arguments, her greatest need is also for attention and reassurance. Once you understand that, you can overcome criticism and tensions much more easily.
See, now, when you get this, then you won't realize if you don't give her attention for good things, she'll try to get your attention by doing not so good things. Now, my wife has gotten very creative, and so this will be your task, to become more creative with new ways to get his attention. Like I'll be trying to read a newspaper, and all of a sudden, bam, I get hit in the head by an almond. She just whips an almond, chucks it in my head. She does these, and then she laughs, and I chase her ass all over the house because I know she's needing attention. See, because what happens is, this doesn't go away. There's a little girl inside of her that so wants to be cherished and is. All over the house. All over the house.
All over the house.
So you chase her, and we now know the neck thing really works. But if you only do the neck thing, then she'll be like, he's getting automatic. So you got to think of other creative variety kinds of things. Always surprising her. Think of how more interesting the office is going to be.
You might have to close the door.
The door's locked.
The door's locked. That's a good thing. Now, I want a question for you. How does this man make you feel?
When it's like this, it's almost undescribable. I'm just...
0 to 10 on your little needs structure.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll just go, 20 or 25 or
20 or
thereabouts.
25 and everything. Give her a hand, ladies and gentlemen.
This is exactly what Mike has been waiting to hear.
And when you see him like this, how much can you open to him?
A whole lot. It gives me so much more power. Like, I was thinking I couldn't say that I would do anything for him. But I think that was coming from a place of I have to do it all alone.
That's right. By the way, you said the perfect thing because you reached in and felt her. You know she doesn't want to be alone. You told her she'll never be alone. She's not going to do it anymore. You told her, not I want, you said how it's going to be. That gave her, look at her. Look at how that melts her, just even to think of that. You own her soul. And she worships you. And you worship her. Go have fun.
This couple was suffering because of something they did not want to admit. That despite their affection for each other and their dedication to the relationship, they did not know how to recover the spark of love and passion. He was feeling defeated, that nothing he could do could meet her needs. She was defensive and harsh in her attempts to hide her disappointment. The truth was that it only took several key steps for them to understand how to turn their relationship around. The first was to understand which of the 6 human needs were not being met, especially Judy's need for variety. In order to transform any human relationship, these needs are the first thing to understand. The second step was for Mike to realize that he was totally misunderstanding Judy's criticisms. He thought that he was constantly failing, while the reality was that she was just testing him. By being oversensitive to her criticisms, he had become paralyzed. In reality, when he thought she was rejecting his offers, she was actually just testing to see whether his offer was powerful enough to withstand a little resistance. As soon as he understood that all of her so-called attacks were really appeals to him to be there for her, to be strong, and to offer her support, he became confident in his good intentions towards her and knew exactly what to say to move her heart. The third step was to realize that if you are afraid or focusing on the possibility of failing, you are focusing on yourself, and that will never bring out your true power. It was only when Mike saw his wife's vulnerability in needing him that he recovered the full power of his masculinity. Truth was that she desperately wanted him to take a stand with her, tell her that he wouldn't let her be alone anymore, and that he was no longer going to be a fragile, timid man. When he saw that, he was able to step into the position of service and become the man he could be. Now, using his own natural masculine strength, Mike can finally create the life of excitement and passion that he and Judy had always craved.
You're a beautiful woman, a really beautiful woman. This man worships you, don't ever forget it. He's still gonna screw up because he's a guy. Give him room and encourage it. He will still screw up because he's a guy. Her job is to catch him doing things right and reinforce him. His job is to constantly find a way to break through. This game doesn't ever end. It's a game of masculine and feminine energy. But when all needs are met, people melt. What needs to be brought to the table is presence and the masculine side. It is a two-way street. I speak to him because I'm a man, because as a man, I hold myself responsible. As a woman, though, you have to hold yourself responsible. If my wife was here, she would say to you, it is your job to give your radiance. Because when you're tight and you shut down, there is no radiance and there is no joy in a man. When you're happy, when you find reasons to be happy, when you find the good in something, if she makes him her hero, she will own him. But if she constantly criticizes and belittles him without a lot of training and conditioning, he would collapse. She would blame him. It's a two-way street. I focused on his case because that's where I come from. My wife would have done the opposite. She would have worked on her. So I've gone way over my time, but I hope you found this helpful and interesting. God bless you.
Here's what you can do to repolarize your relationship. If you are a man, you need to understand your woman's language. The thing she wants most, she will not ask for directly. She will leave you clues, and it is your job to discover them and make them happen. First, listen closely for feedback. If it seems like criticism or teasing, that means there is a need that is not being met, and she needs reassurance and love. If you see her enjoying something, remember to give it to her again in a surprising way. Do not expect her to have the same narrow emotional range that you have. When she seems intolerably sad or stressed or fearful, do not criticize her for this. It's part of the feminine energy. Sometimes there is nothing to be done but give her your presence. Second, remember that you are being tested to see if you really love her. Do not be offended by this. It is how love is experienced by the feminine energy. Enjoy the testing and make it playful. Instead of being hurt, respond with humor, surprise, and reassurance. There is nothing as sexy as a man who can cheer a woman up. Third, stop focusing on yourself. Stop looking for reasons to hold back. If you feel misunderstood, don't retaliate. Meet her needs first. When you can truly give your gift without anxiety or self-consciousness, you will be happier than ever before. For women, the most important thing to remember is that in most cases, it is not that your man doesn't care. It's that he is confused. Encourage him and open to him. If you have been critical, try influencing him the other way, with pleasure, playfulness, and encouragement. Being happy can be a great source of power and change. If you continue to meet each other's needs while developing and expressing your masculine and feminine energies, your relationship will become repolarized, and you will be happier and more passionate together than ever before.